Lesson 5.1, Bisectors of Triangles. So what we're going to look specifically at in this one are angle bisectors. So it talks about how when you bisect an angle, what does that do? Well, it cuts it in half. So one way to think of it is exactly that, cuts it in half. Or you can also think of it as cutting it into two equal parts. So this segment right here is an angle bisector, so it says if angle 2 is 26, what is the measure of angle 1? Well, it also must be 26. Oops, it's a little small there. So 26 and 26. Okay. Find angle 2. If angle WUV, okay, now WUV is the whole thing. That's 22. So if WUV is the whole thing, then the angle bisector cuts it in half. So what I have to do is take 22, divide it by 2, and that's 11. So that means angle 1 is 11, and angle 2 is 11. Okay, what about problem 3? So it says find x if angle 2 is 21x minus 1, and FHG, okay? FHG is the whole thing. So angle 2 is half of this, half of that. So there's two ways to think of it. You can either take half of FHG, or what I think is better is to take the smaller angle, which in this case is angle 2, and double it, or multiply it by 2. So I'm going to take 2 times 21x minus 1, and set that equal to what the whole thing is, which is 40x plus 4. So I do my distributive property. That's going to give me 42x minus 2 equals, clean that up a little bit, 40x plus 4. So I'm going to get my x's on the same side, so I'm going to subtract 40x. So I get 2x minus 2 equals 4. Add 2. So then that gives me 2x equals 6. Divide by 2. So x is 3. Okay. All right, what about the next one? It gives me angle 2 and angle 1. Well, what do I know about those? I know they're equal. They're equal. So in this case, I'm going to set that equal to this. So it's not the same as problem number 3 where we knew the whole angle. In this case, we know the two smaller ones. So the two smaller ones are equal to each other. Oops. Slide this over a little bit so I can, all right, okay, minus 1. Okay. Get my variables on the same side, so I'm going to subtract 10x, subtract 10x. So that's 5 minus 2x equals negative 1. Subtract 5, since that's a positive. So negative 2x equals negative 6. Divide by negative 2. I don't know why my pen's not writing. So if I do that, I get x is 3. Okay. All right, the last couple here. Find angle 2. So now it's not just about finding x. We've actually got to find the measure. If angle 2 is 2x plus 14, and angle 1 is 3x plus 4. So those are the two small ones. And just like in problem 4 that we did, we said the two small ones have to equal each other. So 2x plus 14 equals 3x plus 4. So subtract 3x. That's negative 1x plus 14 equals 4. Subtract 14. Negative 1x equals negative 10. Divide by negative 1. And we get x is 10. Now, what I have to do is I've got to take that, and it asks me to find angle 2. So I got to go back and plug it in right there. So I'm going to write this in blue. So I have 2 times 10. Plus 14. So if I do that, 2 times 10 is 20. 20 plus 14 would be 34. Now, one thing you can do is take that same value, plug it into angle 1, and make sure you end up with the same thing. So 3 times 10 is 30, plus 4 would be 34. So it does work out. And that's a way to check your answer. All right, let's do this last one here. So it gives me angle 1 is 6x minus 1. Then it gives me YWX, which is the whole thing. Okay, so I'm not going to set these equal. Remember, we have to take the smaller one and multiply it by 2 in order to equal what the big one is. Because remember, it cuts it in half. So we do distributive and get 12x minus 2 equals 11x plus 4. Subtract 11x. So it gives me 1x minus 2 equals 4 and 2. So 1x is the same as just x equals 6. Now, it asked me to find angle 2. Well, I don't have anything for angle 2. But what I know is angle 2 is the same as angle 1. So I can take x here and plug it back in to this one. So that's going to give me 6 times 6 minus 1. 6 times 6 is 36, minus 1 would be 35. So it'd be 35 degrees. Now, another thing you can do is try to go back and make sure that works for both parts. So if I take 6 and I come back in and plug it here, 6 times 11 is 66, plus 4 would be 70. Okay, so the whole thing, the whole angle is 70. Well, if the small angle is 35 and the other small angle is 35, what's 35 plus 35 give me? Well, that gives me 70, which is what I got when I plugged it into the big angle. So again, it's a good way to check your answers to make sure you've done it correctly.